Hello, it's Charles with Uber Eats. Today is Sunday, December 7th, 2025, and I am blessed and grateful this morning because I received that precious gift of tomorrow with God's wake-up call, and I got to see another day here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. And you're equally blessed this morning and today because you received that precious gift of tomorrow with God's wake-up call this morning, and you also got to see another day here on earth. Tomorrow isn't promised to anybody, so it's most definitely, unarguably, without a doubt, the most precious gift to receive, because not everybody got God's wake-up call this morning and got to see another day wherever they're living. They don't have the option of getting out and seeing people, seeing things, and enjoying life however they see fit. Whatever makes them happy, they get to do whatever they get to do today. So, and you also get to do that. So I am of the opinion that anytime you wake up and you realize that you get to spend another day here on earth is most definitely a precious gift to receive, and we should be appreciative, honor God, and praise God for that blessed gift. That's my opinion anyway. God is good. God is great. Always and always. Amen. I got my... It doesn't have an account number on the front of it, so I guess I could... And I'm going to cover up my name. I got my Chase Freedom Visa credit card in the mail, and I had tried to apply for a credit card through my old bank, Capital One. They wouldn't update my address when I moved to Texas, so I had no choice but to cancel that card, because it was going to be, my new card was going to be getting mailed to my address in Oklahoma City. So I said, I hate to do this, but I feel like I have no choice. You're not allowing me to update my address to my new place in Texas, and you're not allowing me to have it mailed anywhere else but my home address. So I guess I have to close out my account, And I suppose they were wanting to just get rid of me because I never carried a balance with them. I always paid off my balance every 3 weeks, so I never incurred an interest charge. So I guess, they were doing their best to drop off customers that they weren't getting any money off of. Maybe that's why they didn't want to carry me anymore. I was no problem to them. I was a good customer. I always paid my bill on time. And I used my card frequently. So, I don't know why they were giving me such a problem. I had no issue updating my address going out to Vegas from Columbus. I updated my address going into Oklahoma City, but then that's when I incurred problems when I moved to Texas for whatever reason. So I don't know. I talked to the lady. I had an appointment on Monday, this past Monday, and no, it was the day after. It was Wednesday. My mistake. It was Wednesday the 3rd, and I said she was talking to me about all the benefits of having this card. You get 1% cash back on most purchases, gas purchases, food purchases, grocery, restaurants, and things like this. And then you get 1% back on that. And then you get 2% back on travel. And then there was a third tier, 3% back on something else. And I said, I don't really... I'm not somebody that travels frequently. I might travel once or twice a year to somewhere, and I haven't yet gone anywhere this year. I went to I went to Hawaii last year, early in the year last year, and I haven't traveled anywhere for, vacation type purposes. I've traveled, of course, over the course of the year a good bit, but not for leisure, I said. But I can most definitely benefit from 1% cash back on gas and food, because I eat at this halal food truck frequently, and I buy gas every day. So she said, well, you'll be getting 1% back, and there's no interest charge, no annual fee, and there's no additional fees. And I said, if I don't carry a balance on this, if I pay it off every 3 weeks, will it cost me anything? She said, no, it won't cost you a dime. So I don't see the downside in it. I'm going to treat this card just like I did my Capital One card, paying it off before I incur an interest charge. As long as you don't carry something on there more than 30 days, you won't have to pay any interest on it. And I said, that's my intention with this card. Is that going to be a problem? And she said, no, that's no problem. And I did ask her if I could link up my debit card with this card so I could make payments easier. And she said, unfortunately can't do that. I looked into making a payment on it already just to see what practice it would take. And it doesn't allow me to put my debit card number in there. I have to put my bank routing number and my account number in there. So in like 2 or 3 weeks from now, when I go to make my payment, I'll just have to have my routing number and my account number handy to make that, and it'll be just as easy as I was making my payments on my Capital One card. So just using a different type of number. So it's all good. I don't see the downside in this card, you know. And now, if I need to rent a car, I'll find that more easy. I did find a place here in Tampa that accepts cash, but it's a little bit more expensive to rent a car paying cash than you would have paid with a credit card. So now I can rent a car, so that's beneficial, and it's going to make travel easier. You know, getting if I'm out traveling in a different city or a different country, I can more easily use a credit card and not have to worry about converting from, you know, into their type of money, you know, and stuff like that, exchanges and stuff, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm happy with this card. Like I said, I don't see the downside in it, and I'll be getting some money back. She said that cash back feature works. I didn't go into a whole lot of, I didn't ask her a whole lot about the cash back function, but my understanding is it gets applied as a credit on your account, and you can apply it toward future purchases that you make. So as long as I'm getting it in some fashion, that's fine. So I'm very happy I got my new credit card. I'm sitting up here at the pump where I see the gas prices have went up 2 cents to $2.76. Yesterday it was at $2.74 Saturday morning. And according to AAA, the national average has went down a penny to $2.95. And Gas Buddy is showing that the Florida state average has went down 3 cents to $2.91. So this Circle K is better than Florida's state average by 15 cents. And it's better than the national average by 19 cents. I had a fantastic night's sleep last night. I think on account of the rain. It rained. I could hear rain hitting the top of the camper where I sleep at night. The majority of the night, it rained, and it helped me doze off. I was naturally tired, so I wouldn't have had trouble falling asleep, but sometimes I kind of toss and turn. But not last night. I slept the whole night through, and I feel superb. I feel great, and I'm ready to take on this Sunday and have another great day of earnings on the app. I did have a great day yesterday. One of the things I remember most about yesterday was the spectacular sky that I saw yesterday. When I tell you that there was not a single break in the clouds yesterday, and that doesn't say enough about what the sky looked like. It was entirely uniform, one color, you know, and it wasn't quite white, you know. If you just kind of glanced up at the sky and looked down and then back and forth, you know, and not studied the sky, you would have said the sky was white. But if you looked hard enough and really studied the sky, it was a very light tinge of blue in there. So, and like I said, it was entirely the same color across the sky entirely, like somebody had taken a paintbrush and painted the entire sky the same color. The only thing that stood out beyond that, how marvelous the sky looked, it was kind of like the antithesis of the sky I saw out in Vegas one time. I was out in Vegas one day, and I noticed there wasn't a single cloud in the sky, not even a strand. You know how you see those little thin strips of clouds, and you'll see like 2 or 3 of them stacked on top of the others, you know, going across. There wasn't even that. I could not spot a single strand of white in the sky. It was entirely blue. Well, this sky was the complete opposite of that. And with the super moon being out, of course it wasn't a full moon at this point. It was, you know, heading back towards half moon or whatever. But as far as I could tell, it was still a full moon, and boy, it really popped. That was the only thing that really stood out beyond the sky being entirely white with a slight tinge of blue in it, was the moon. And I thought, man, I was out driving, on the way to a delivery when I noticed the sky was like that. And I said, man, I would love to take a picture of that. And I just so happened to be out kind of in the country, on the outskirts of Tampa Bay, where there's not much city and a lot of farming. Well, I said this would be an excellent opportunity if I could find somewhere to pull over and get out of my car and take a shot, because you can't really get a good shot of something like that, like the sky, especially from your car. The perspective of your car, it's something you need to stand up and walk around and get a good angle and everything. And I was wanting to capture the moon, of course, in my picture. So as I was driving to the customer's house, I did spot a few places along that road that appeared to be good opportunities for me to pull over. One of which was just a wide part of the shoulder that I could most definitely pull off far enough to be safe. And there was another one that was a driveway that looked like somebody had started to build a house, but they decided not to. They had the concrete was poured up off the road and into the grass, and then you could see where somebody had graded a driveway, but then that was all there was to it. Well, I could have pulled over there. There's another spot. And then there was a parking lot of a business that was closed. I think it was a dry cleaner or some kind of thing like that. And there wasn't any cars in there. So I thought, well, there's at least 3 spots there that I could pull out of if I can remember that I could pull over into and take a picture of the moon. If I can remember, to turn the right way going back out. And after I dropped off the customer's order, I remembered to turn out the right way, because it wasn't the way I needed to go back to get into town by the time to get back to where I needed to go, because by the time I got to their house, it was routing me a different way to get to my next closest opportunity for deliveries. But I didn't want to do that, so I ignored that my phone, and I managed to turn back out the right way. Well, I get back to those 3 spots, and the first one I came across was that parking lot, and I pulled over there. Well, I pulled up and I said, this is going to be perfect because there's nobody around, to see me, to disturb me. And because I don't like, when I'm out taking pictures of stuff, I don't like people to watch me, and it's distracting, and they're kind of, I don't want them to think I'm up to no good, out taking because it's not every day you see somebody up, taking pictures of the sky with their cell phone. And I don't want anybody to think I'm up to something, especially with that being a business that's closed. I don't want them to think I'm wanting to break into it or something like that. So I looked around and nobody's watching me. So nobody's around to see me. So I get out of my car. Well, as soon as I get out, I realize that parking lot of that business, whatever it was, I think it was a dry cleaner, was entirely flooded. And when I say flooded, I mean it was like 2 or 3 inches of water in most spots. And there was some dry spots, but not nearly enough for me to walk around and get a great shot because of the moon and the sky. So I'm like, well, this appeared to be a great spot, when I drove by, but now looking at it, it's not the best opportunity. So, and I'm like, well, I'm sure of the other 2 spots, the driveway, the partially started driveway, I could pull over there and possibly get a shot of the moon. Or if that doesn't work out, I'll go back, and that wide part of the, the shoulder where I could pull over there, I'd have to do a U-turn, but I could pull over there and get a shot of the moon. So those 2 spots will most likely work. So I went ahead and pulled out of there and drove up to that partially started driveway where somebody had started to build a house, but they decided not to. I think they even had some of there was parts of the foundation had been poured too, even. So I know maybe they're still planning on starting a house there. It's most likely the case. Because I didn't see any for sale signs, and it just didn't seem like it was something that somebody had abandoned. It was a work in project. Well, a work in progress. Well, anyway, I pulled over there to the driveway, and as soon as I pulled up, I saw another problem. The grass, there was enough room for me to get out of my car to stand on the partially started driveway, but it had rained so much at that point that the grass was so muddy. There was more mud than grass, if I'm being honest. it looked like they had work to do on the sod too. They had grass to lay down. So I'm like, this is another poor opportunity for me to take a shot, take a shot of the moon. So I'm like, well, this is not going to work. I need to get around, walk around and make sure I'm getting the right angle of the moon and make sure it's the right type of picture I want to take, and that place wasn't affording me that opportunity. So another place I passed by that appeared to be a great opportunity to take a shot at the moon was a failure. So then I went on, well, surely the next spot, that shoulder, the wide part on the shoulder where I could pull off to the side of the road, making sure I'm safe enough, where my car's not going to get hit. That was a major concern of mine at this third spot. Well, I drove by there, and wouldn't you know it, there was 2 or 3 people parked there, and they were getting out their fishing gear. A lot of people do that. You're not allowed to fish off the side of bridges down here. You're not supposed to. I see people doing it all the time, but the only opportunity I could see there was fishing off the bridge, unless they're going to walk down. The grass was all grown up down by the river. So I'm assuming they were planning on fishing off the bridge, which you're allowed to fish off the bridge as long as you're not doing it in the middle parts. You can do it along the edges, is my understanding. If you're not, close to you can do it not at the peak of the bridge, but like just as the bridge starts, if you can hit the water from there, you're allowed to fish from there, but you're not allowed to fish from near the middle of the bridge. That's what I've been told anyway. I've heard, but I couldn't stop there. I missed my opportunity. If I was going to do it, I should have pulled over there before I got to the customer's house and dropped off their food. So I missed a good opportunity there. Most likely that would have worked out because there wasn't much. Didn't appear to be much mud there. It wasn't grassy, but it was gravel. So and that must have that would have been a great opportunity, but I missed it because I passed on by. So. I had 3 opportunities, 2 of which failed, and one I just missed out on because of my timing. So, you look at something like that, and it seems simple enough, taking a shot at the moon, and you just think it's something as simple as pulling over and taking a good picture or something. But once you start looking at it and actually trying to do it for yourself, you realize that things like that take a lot of planning. And it's not just as simple as walking up, holding up your camera at something and taking a shot. It takes a lot of planning, and you have to know where the thing is going to be in advance. That I could go back to that shoulder, next month when we have another full moon. And regardless of what the sky looks like, I could still take another shot at the moon. But who's to say that the moon will be at the same distance from the horizon? I have no way of knowing where the moon will be a month from now. It changes its position in the sky, and that might not be the best opportunity, unless I have a meteorologist or somebody that's studies astrology and with the weather and stuff like that. Unless I have a friend or somebody to inform me, where the moon is going to be, I have no way of knowing that. So it's not just as simple as it appears, is my whole point. So there's a lot that goes into photography, and it's not it's something that one of my interests is photography. I took a class in college, and I just found it quite interesting, and that my interest in photography has only grown. I can't say I'm passionate about it, but it's definitely an interest of mine. I'm sure I'll have another opportunity to get a shot of the full moon. It won't be from that, most likely won't be from that road that I was on, but I'll have future opportunities to take a shot at the moon. And of course, I got my free cup of ice in my Frazzle cup. I accidentally hit the button. I went to the place where you get the crushed ice, so I'm dealing with crushed ice today. And I most likely, I'm sure I'll have enough room in here for my can. I went with the tea and lemonade variety of my Monster Rehab, Revive, Refresh, Recover. Yeah, it's all going to go in there. Let me check out that date. I haven't looked at the date yet. It says J2508, and J is the 10th letter of the alphabet. So this was made just 2 months ago. Today's the 7th, so tomorrow it will be 2 months old. Yeah, it's a very fresh can. It's just a day shy of 2 months old. Oh, that's good. Again, I don't have a straw. I forgot again to get more straws. I'm gonna put my credit card away before I lose it. I didn't get onto Reddit at all yesterday, not even to read anything. So none of my numbers have changed as a result of that. That post I went through, that was on a 24-hour hold. It's finally showing that I have 81 posts, which is where it should be now. And the other numbers, another comment must have been on a 24-hour hold, because I know I didn't do any comments yesterday. I'm showing 364 comments, 81 posts, and my karma is still holding at 1,054. So I'm not garnering any more upvotes or downvotes, which is a good thing. I'm holding steady at 1,054. And my I did not do any Google reviews yesterday. I didn't find the time or opportunity. So my contributions are still at 1682. My pictures I've uploaded, I have 738. My points are at 9316. So that means I need 5,684 more points to make a local guide 8 on Google. And my picture views, have went up. I had more people view my 738 pictures I've uploaded. I'm now at 2,938,382. And I didn't do the math ahead of time, but it went from 8,300. It went from 7,200 to 8,300. So that's around 1,100 views, more or less. More people viewed my pictures. My reviews are still at 270. And I had great results on the Uber Eats app yesterday in terms of earnings and performance. And I'll tell you what, this whole thing that I've changed with my communication has really improved my ability to get great results on the app, both in earnings. I'm making more money now by not selecting those predetermined messages. You know, like you can go, when you go to message your customer, you can just hit a button and it'll say I'm stuck in traffic, or I'm on my way, or something like this. There's 3 or 4 different things you can select on there. Well, I haven't done that for 2 or 3 days in a row now. I didn't use a pre-selected message at all yesterday. You know, even when I was stuck in traffic, or traffic was heavy, I could have hit I'm stuck in traffic. Well, instead I wrote, well, I've got your food and I'm on my way there, but traffic is a bit heavy on this part of 301, Highway 301. And wouldn't you know it, she responded back to me. Now, nobody has ever, I've used that button, I'm stuck in traffic, several times, maybe 100 times or more. And no one has ever responded back to me, but I sent her a personalized message about me being stuck in traffic, and wouldn't you know it, that for the first time I've done that, they responded back to me. So that's another thing. Customers are responding back to me more frequently now that I'm using personalized message and more complete messages. That's another thing I'm doing. Instead of just saying traffic, I used to just type in traffic, and that gets my point across that, hey, I'm going to be late because I'm stuck in traffic. Well, that's not a great way to communicate with your customer, somebody that's tipping you and paying you for your service. And it reflects poorly, on me as being a poor communicator. So that's something I know that is an area of opportunity for me, and I'm working on it. And I have improved greatly. I know that in 2 ways, because of my earnings, and I'm getting responses back from my customers, and my scores have improved. So it's all good. And I got that idea entirely from reading Reddit. So Reddit continues to be a great resource for me in many ways. It's entertaining, it's informative, and it's just a great way to share ideas, that you can share with a particular group that shares your similar interests. So Reddit is just a fantastic thing. If you all out there have a particular interest, I guarantee that you can find a Reddit group on there that you can search for and share your ideas with them and get new ideas and get new insight on that particular subject, that you never thought of before from other people in that community. I certainly have with my Uber Eats driver subreddit. So my on time got worse. I was at 78 as a result of my business from Friday. I got 78 Saturday morning. And this morning, as a result of my business from Saturday, I got worse. I only arrived at customers' houses and restaurants 77% of the time. So I need to work on that. That's 2 days in a row I've been below my 80% goal. So I'm going to work on and strive and get better and arrive at customers' houses faster today and get that back up to 80% or better. My cancels are still at 1%. That hasn't dropped off yet. I have my acceptance score went down 4%. I accepted less orders yesterday through the app. I'm at 59% accepted orders. And my deliver with care improved by 7. I had 7 people say I delivered food to their door with great care. I had 5 people say I was very friendly with my service. 4 people said I was quick and efficient. I'm at 479, 488 in friendly, 479 quick and efficient. I have 456 people say I'm a good communicator. That's 6 more people from yesterday morning. And 4 more people said I delivered with a perfect handoff. I have 448 comments there. Now, that again is another day where I've gotten the most altogether most comments and thumbs up on all those metrics, because there goes 7 and 5, 12, 16, 22, 26 altogether. I had 26 upvotes on all those 5 across the board there. So that's just fantastic. And so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing with this, sending out personal messages, because it's definitely getting a great response from my customers. I thought I lost this, but I found it. I did write down the Powerball results from yesterday. Yes, Saturday's drawing of the Powerball was the 6th of December. They drew the number 13, 14, 26, 28, 44, and the Powerball was 7. And no one has hit, like I predicted, no one hit the Powerball last night. And I don't think anybody will hit it tomorrow night, which will most likely Wednesday make the jackpot over $1 billion. And I hope it gets there. I hope nobody hits it tomorrow. I did hit one number in the middle. I think 14. Yeah. That was the first number I played. 14, 22, 25, 37, 49. So I did hit 14. That was the only number I hit. And I've got several tickets to check now. I have 5 tickets to check now, because I can't find one of those darn scanners where you can scan your own numbers. I know I could download that app, but I don't want to use up any more memory on my phone, because any app I download it slows down my Uber Eats app. So, and I can't mess with my Uber Eats app. I can't mess with my money. So I have to find other ways to do that, to check my number before I throw away a ticket. I want to make sure whether it's not a winner, I did get on to check out the weather for today, Sunday the 7th of December. And I also found out what about the sunrise time and sunset time here in Tampa for Sunday, the 7th of December, 2025. And according to weather-atlas.com, the sunrise time today is 7:07 a.m. and right now the time is 4:24 a.m. So that means we've got 2 hours 43 minutes until the sun comes up here in Tampa. And the sun will set tonight, according to weather-atlas.com, at 5:35 p.m. So we've got 10 hours and 29 minutes of daylight today in Tampa. And that's going to increase gradually going into the springtime. We're gaining more daylight time now since we've passed the 1st of December. I also checked out what weather it said we can expect. And that website said expect on and off showers may develop into the afternoon. A chance of precipitation is high at 67%. However, the rain will be light. The temperature scale will run from a high of 81 degrees to a minimum of a pleasant 68. This high and low temperature is familiar to November averages than December averages. So we're trending warmer right now than we should be in the month of December. And then according to Gemini, it said, I asked it what weather can I expect this Sunday the 7th, and it said, based on the current forecast for Tampa, Florida, on Sunday, December 7, 2025, the weather will be transitioning. Expect light rain with a daytime high of 78 and a chance of rain is at 35 to 40% chance. So we're likely to see rain again today. I ran into a great deal of rain in the late afternoon, evening last night, and it nearly got to the point where I considered pulling over because I was done with my deliveries at that point. I was trying to get back to my part of town to eat and get back to my camper and relax. But I pushed on and it never got quite that bad. But it was the rain was very heavy. I did my then it says rain is likely to be more widespread in the evening. With the rainy conditions, it is not surprising to see that a low of 67 degrees in Tampa Bay area. Winds will be moderate, around 13 miles an hour, coming from the south. And then according to Meta AI, it said December 7, you can expect showers possibly in the afternoon with highs in the low 80s and lows in the upper 60s. It's going to be cloudy with occasional showers, and there's a 70% chance of rain. So it's predicting a greater opportunity and likelihood of rain than Gemini was. Gemini said 35%. Winds out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Now, I did catch the weather forecast on 93.3 FLZ, but it wasn't Amy Snyder. She appears to have taken another day off from work. So they had that guy on there that I couldn't remember his name. I knew there was 4 different people on there. There's Amy Snyder. Then there's a lady last name of Mejia, Mejia, and then John Thomas, but I could not remember the 4th guy's name. Well, they had him on there yesterday all day, the majority of the day, telling us the weather. His name is Jeff Baradelli, so I need to try to remember his name. I've got all the 4 names memorized now, so hopefully his name doesn't slip my mind. Jeff Baradelli. I did my best at spelling it. I spelled it how it sounded, phonetically, so I'm not exactly sure how to spell his name. But it's Baradelli, Jeff Baradelli. And then I checked out the 2. I actually only checked out one YouTube page. I meant to check out Fox 13 Tampa Bay, but I didn't. I only checked out one YouTube page for the weather. And on 10 Tampa Bay, meteorologist Colleen Campbell says that much needed rain continues to fall in Tampa Bay today and into the night into Monday morning. Fog Sunday morning. I didn't experience any fog this morning. Will cause significantly reduced visibility. Thankfully, I didn't see any fog. I didn't have any trouble because I have a hard time seeing at night anyway without the fog driving. Rain will be more widespread Sunday compared to Saturday, which doesn't necessarily mean heavy. It's just means to say that it's going to be in more parts of town. The rain's going to hit more parts of Tampa Bay area than it did yesterday, not necessarily heavier than it did. 79 degree high temperature and 66 degree low. And most all these forecasts are pretty much similar in terms of high and low temperature. So I can expect another pleasant day here in Tampa, if not a rainy day. I was looking over my notes for my deliveries yesterday, and my handwriting was quite good for the whole of the day. I think it's because I slept so good the night before. I did sleep fairly well. I felt rested anyway, so I think that's attributes and accounts for how my handwriting, what kind of handwriting I can expect for the day. So, and I should have good handwriting today because I feel great. I feel wide awake and I feel rested, and I'm ready to take on this Sunday. So I'm feeling good. My first delivery of the day was for Drew. Drew wanted Chick-fil-A on East Fowler. He tipped me $4.99, and his fare was $2, so I made $6.99 on that delivery. Thank you very much for that tip, Drew. I appreciate you. And then I went on to my second delivery, was for Leo. Leo wanted Martha's Family Restaurant on Highway 92. Leo's fare was $2.91, and he tipped me $4, so I made $6.91 on that run. And then my third trip was for Jasper. That's not their name. I made up that name. They had a very strange name, so I had to change it up a little bit. Jasper wanted Starbucks on Gibsonton Road. Her fare was $2, and she tipped me $3.05. Thank you for the $3 tip, Jasper. I appreciate that. So I made $5.05 on her delivery. Oh, that's good. And then trip number 4 was for Mike. Mike wanted Dunkin' Donuts on Boyette. Boyette. His fare was $2, and he tipped me $3.46. Thank you, Mike, for the $3 tip. I appreciate that greatly. I made $5.46 on that delivery. And then trip number 5 was for Julie. Julie wanted Heim's Breakfast on Sullivan Road. Julie gave me a very generous, very good tip, $7.92. Thank you very much, Julie, for that $7 tip. I appreciate you. That was a nice tip. $2 fare, so I made $9.92 there. And then trip number 6 was for Damon. Damon wanted Maple Street Biscuits on Bloomingdale. Damon gave me an okay tip, $4.44. Thank you, Damon, for the $4 tip. And a $2 fare, so I made $6.44 there. And then Melanie gave me a very big tip, a generous tip of $11.60 for her Kiki breakfast order. That Kiki breakfast is on West Brandon Boulevard. Melanie's fare was $2, so I made $13.60 on that delivery. Thank you very much, Melanie. You're very kind. And then trip number 8 was for Artie. Artie wanted Camden Cafe on East Brandon. Artie gave me a good tip, $4.46. Thank you, Artie, for the $4 tip. I made, with a fare of $2, I made $6.46 on Artie's delivery. And after Artie, I went on to pick up food for Sean. Sean wanted Plumber's Family Restaurant on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. He gave me a good tip, $7.15. That's a very generous tip. Thank you, Sean, for the $7 tip. I made $9.15 with a fare of $2 on that run. And after leaving Sean's residence, I went on to pick up order number 10 for Patrick. Patrick gave me a tip of $6.03, and I made $8.03 on that delivery. Thank you for the $6 tip, Patrick. And the fare was $2. I think 13. Looks like trip number 12 might have been my best paying delivery. No, there goes a 19. 20 is probably going to be my best paying trip, number 20, the Buffalo Wild Wings. And then after Patrick, I went on my 11th delivery for Rick. Rick wanted Marco's Pizza on Providence. Rick gave me a decent tip of $3.58. Thank you for the $3 tip, Rick. His fare was $2, so I made $5.58 there. And then I went on to my 12th delivery. I know I've never been at this restaurant before. It was never seen this name before, a restaurant. It was called Turkish Kitchen on Bloomingdale for Steve. Steve gave me a very generous tip, a big tip, $11.84. Thank you very much, Steve. That was very gracious of you. Very generous and gracious of you. $2 fare, so I made $13.84 there. And then after dropping off Steve's order, I went on to pick up a McDonald's order for Carmen. Carmen wanted McDonald's on Big Bend Road. Carmen gave me a tip of $3. Thank you, Carmen, for the $3 tip. I appreciate that. And her fare was $2. So I made $5 on that trip. And then I went back to a McDonald's, but a different one, on my 14th delivery. This McDonald's was on Tamiami Trail. Tamiami, Tamiami Trail, for Mary. Mary gave me a tip of $3.50 and her fare was $2, so I made $5.50 on that delivery. And then trip number 15, I went on to pick up pizza for Ron. Ron wanted Marco Pizza on Harbor Village. Ron gave me a tip of $3.92. Thank you, Ron, for the $3 tip. I appreciate you. $2 fare for Ron's delivery, so I made $5.92 on Ron's trip. Again, thank you, Ron, for that tip. And then I went on. I've been to this place before. It's a type of place I could see myself going to and eating. If I'm ever in that area and have a break, it seems like I have a break where I'm not getting deliveries, I might pop in there and get, a sandwich or something small. I'd like to eat there sometime. This was my 16th trip. Ybor Grill on 19th. Daryl wanted Ybor Grill on 19th Avenue. His fare was $2 and he tipped me $4.49. Thank you for the $4 tip, Daryl. I made $6.49 there. And then I went on to pick up food for Lucy. Lucy wanted Applebee's on Big Bend Road. Lucy gave me a generous tip of $7.02. And her fare was $2.02, so I made $9.04 on that delivery. And something I remember about that, I made a note of it. I would have probably remembered it regardless because I had the coupon. But my order wasn't ready. There was 2 orders there. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to walk in or not. Some of these places you're supposed to wait outside the carryout door. They've got carryout doors, and then they have doors for customers that are dining in. Well, I use the carryout door whenever I see one, Well, I go in there, and it appeared that it was just an area for employees to be, but I stayed outside and just had the door propped open, and I asked one of the bus boys as he walked by, I said, are delivery driver partners allowed to stand in here? He says, yeah, you can stand in here. They do it all the time. And he went on with it, with his tray of dishes, dirty dishes. Well, I went in and stood there a while, and I noticed that there was 2 orders sitting there, and neither of which were mine. They were different customers' names on there. So I waited patiently for seemed like a good while for somebody to acknowledge me. Finally, somebody did, a manager, and he said he would send somebody over there to help me. Well, finally, somebody came over, an actual server came over to help me and asked me the name of the order, and he went back and grabbed it. And I knew ahead of time that my order had drinks. I do my best to be aware of the drink thing, because that's one thing that restaurants are typically bad at not getting to the delivery drivers are the drinks. They always seem to forget those. And sure enough, he didn't bring me any drinks. Well, I asked, I kind of hinted to him to be in the politest way possible, but to get my point across, I said, I think these have drinks. I knew they had drinks, but I just phrased it that way. I believe I have drinks with this order. And he looked at the ticket and he said, my gosh, you do have drinks. And then he brought them back to me. He said, I've been doing this a while. I've been working at this Applebee's a while. And he said, you're the only delivery driver that's ever noticed that there were drinks there that were missing. Now, he said, there might have been some delivery drivers that came in and knew that they had drinks, but they were already there. But you're the first one that has noticed that I didn't bring drinks to them that should have brought drinks to them. He said that's something else. That's more or less what he said. He put it in his own way, but he said I was the only one that's ever noticed that drinks were missing on a bill. So he seemed to be impressed by that, and he probably thought he was doing me a favor, but I don't care for this card. But because he noticed that he knew what I'm trying to say is he wanted to recognize me for noticing that the drinks were missing on the ticket. He handed me this $10 off 30 coupon. But I'm not an Applebee's person. It was an Applebee's restaurant. I'm not an Applebee's person I don't particularly like their food. And this type of deal, you can only use it if you're already spending money there. So in a way, he kind of gave me a bill for my next meal. He kind of preordained my next visit to Applebee's. So I'm not going to go there. Probably what I'm going to do, I missed an opportunity to just give this to my customer when I dropped off their food at the door, is what I should have done, which would have been ideal. But the next order I take today that has similar food that Applebee's has, I might just leave that with my customer when I drop off their food, because I'm not going to use this card. And it expires in January. It expires the 11th of January, so which is just about a month away. So I want to get this card out to somebody today and let somebody use it that's going to have that wants it. I don't want Applebee's. Anyway, I really regret not just leaving that card with that Applebee's customer when I dropped off her food. That's what I should have done, but I didn't do it. But anyway, thank you, Lucy, for the $7 tip. I appreciate you greatly. And then I went on. My 18th delivery was for Sally. Sally tipped me $3.41 for her McDonald's pickup on Sun City Center. Her fare was $2, so I made $5.41. Thank you, Sally, for the $3 tip. And then trip number 19 was for Paula. Paula wanted Taco Bell. That also was on Sun City Center. Those two were right next to each other, now that I recall. I thought it should have been a double, because I was just leaving the McDonald's when that Taco Bell order came in and I picked it up. So why the app groups some as doubles and others as not is beyond me. That should have most definitely been grouped as a double on the app, but in any other circumstance it would have. But for some reason the app decided to separate those two. So that Paula, she tipped me $5.32. Thank you, Paula, for the $5.32 tip for your Taco Bell order, and her fare was $3.50, so I made $8.82 on that delivery. Again, thank you, Paula and Sally, greatly for your tips. And then trip number 20 was for Chris. Chris wanted Buffalo Wild Wings on Big Bend, and this was my best paying order of the day. Chris tipped me $17.37, and it wasn't particularly that big of an order. All the bags I get from Buffalo Wild Wings are big bags because of how they package their wings. You can just order a little bit of food and they end up giving you like a paper grocery bag full of food, so his order wasn't particularly that big, and for him to give me a $17 tip, it just was incredible. And I really appreciate you, Chris. And I think customers know that I appreciate them if I don't outright say it. I don't generally say, hey, thanks for that tip, because I don't know. When I see that offer that comes through, it might say $17 or $18. I don't know what part of that is the tip and what part of it is the fare. So I don't know how much the customers are tipping me, whether they're tipping me anything at all. In fact, I've gotten some offers, some things come through $5 or $6 and I take them and it's not even a tip, it's just the fare. So I don't want to just blindly thank somebody for a tip and just in case they don't tip me. That would be rude of me. And I want to be genuine in thanking somebody for their tip. So if somebody hands me money, I most definitely will thank them because I know what I'm receiving. But I'm not just going to blindly thank somebody for tipping me if I don't know what they're giving me. That would be just as rude as not thanking them, in my opinion. But thank you very much, Chris. Your tip is much appreciated, and I'm grateful for it. And then trip number 21 was for Jake. Jake wanted Chai Yo Thai. I know I'm fairly certain that's how to. I know chai is CHAI. That's Chai Yo Thai cuisine. I know I've never been there before. I would have remembered that name. That place was on Boyette, Boyette Road. Jake tipped me $10. Another good tip. Thank you very much, Jake, for the $10 tip. That's another generous tip. His fare was $2.07, so I made $12.07 on that one. And then my last trip of the day, 22, was a double for the same person. Kate wanted China Star on Highway 41, and she wanted McDonald's on Sun City Center. She gave me a tip of $8. Thank you, Kate, for your $8 tip on that double. I appreciate that. And that was a great way to round off the day with another generous tip. Thank you, Kate. I appreciate you. Her fare was $2.52, and I made $10.52 on that run. Well, I'm going to get off here and get on with my day. It's nearly time for me to be able to go in and get my coffee at this McDonald's. I want to wish you all a great day and hope you're doing great and having a great weekend like me. And in getting out and enjoying yourself, whatever that looks like, however that looks like, enjoy your day. I want to encourage you, if you're struggling with anything, personal problems, problems with family, bills, your job, if you're having problems with your car, if you're behind on your rent, utility, if you don't know how you're going to make utility bills, or the cost of these, how expensive groceries has gotten you down, talk to God about it. Pray to God and just talk to God about your troubles, and He will listen to you and He will hear your prayers. As long as you believe in Him and trust in Him and love Him, He will answer your prayers. God loves you. You are in the time and place that you're at right now because of God. God has a purpose for you, and He placed you in this time and place for a reason. And you're where you're at for a purpose. You know, even if you don't know what that is, you're in the time and place that you're at right now because of God and God's love and God's good grace. You woke up today. So if anything else, know that, and that should help you. Your understanding that and believing in that will help you get through the day if nothing else does. So I know God answers prayers. He most definitely answers my prayers. He answered my biggest prayer was to stop drinking. And it's been September 1st of 2022 since I quit drinking. And looking back at how I was, the way I was drinking, especially in my 20s, anybody would have told you I would have been drinking the rest of my life and had poor health outcomes as a result. But because of God's love and God's good grace and my praying to God and asking God for help, He came to me and He relieved me of the horrible burden alcohol had on my life and the grip it had on me. And I am forever grateful to God for that. And I praise God every day, most days. I praise God, and I do pray to God every day, and I talk to God every day. And God is good. God is great, always and always. Amen. Well, I'm going to get off here, and I want to again wish you all a great day and hope you're having a great weekend. God bless you all, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.